In 2013, Leah Moses left her stable job to become a taxi driver. Today, she's an Uber driver. In this next interview, she tells us what it's like being out here as a female taxi driver. So Leah, what made you decide to become an Uber driver?
Well, I was a taxi driver previously, so when I heard of the service, it interested me because it's similar to what I was doing anyway.
How long have you been a driver?
I've been a driver since 2013, so next month will make it 4 years.
And a PH driver?
And taxi driver at
taxi
first.
Driver.
I'm only a PH driver about 8 months now.
How is being an Uber driver different from a regular taxi driver?
Well, I don't have to go on a taxi stand and actually wait for a vehicle to fill, or to at least have 3 people. I could actually just wait somewhere in the comfort of my vehicle until I get a request. And if it's just one person, I can leave, and fulfill the service. So
it's just been over a week now that Uber has been launched. What sort of feedback have you gotten?
Well, it has been mixed. It's a mixed feedback. Some people are very interested in the service and have been testing it out. We have a lot of people have been testing it out. I found out that there were over 5,000 people actually checking it out on launch day. So I can imagine it's probably double that by now. There were a lot of cancellations on day 1 and even other days because I guess people were testing the app just to see if it's really true, if a driver will really come from them by pressing a few buttons.
Did that sort of dampen your spirit when you're thinking, okay, you're getting a lot of passengers, and then just when you think, okay, you have another call and it's cancelled just as you're about to leave to collect that passenger?
Yes, it was disappointing at first, but then I got some information and I was told, don't worry about it. It's all part of the process of launching and the first week of the operation.
What is the package like with Uber and how lucrative is it for you compared to if you were just a regular taxi driver in terms of the package or your arrangement with Uber in terms of how much you have to give them at the end of the month or at the end of each trip?
Okay. The fares are calculated. There's a standard base fare, and then they give you a rate per minute, per kilometer. So that actually helps me in that if I take a higher job as a taxi driver, if I said the job is $100, no matter what happens out there, it's $100. However, with Uber, if the ride took longer than expected, it will then apply, the minute rates and the kilometer rates will then apply. So that will work out great for me. In addition to that, there's just a 25% fee from each trip.
That goes towards Uber?
That goes towards, for the use of their app and all that.
Does this work out better for you?
Yes, it does. It's still profitable.
What were you doing before you became a taxi driver?
I was actually working at a clerical position, doing office duties basically.
What made you switch? Because that would have been a stable job, and
right.
then you switched to become a taxi driver,
right.
which it's not certain how much you're going to take home at the end of each day.
True. Well, I always had a thing for business. I studied in the field of business, and I always liked business or self-employment opportunities. So Uber actually provides that option for you to become your own boss because working is all on your timing.
There's the issue with Uber being illegal. Does that worry you in terms of this whole service falling apart at the stage when you're now starting to get dependent on it?
I personally am not worried because I do have my taxi driver's badge. All it will mean for me is just turning my vehicle to an H car, which I've done previously. So I am not worried in terms of Uber being able to stay as they are, technology based.
There's the issue of security and how safe are the Uber drivers, and it goes both ways. You don't know who you're picking up. What if it's a trap? You don't know what's going to happen. Where does that leave you?
Okay, well, as a driver, riders must register. They must register through a process, and credit card information will be there, email address information will be in there, and certain other details. All right. So that gives me a sense of comfort, knowing that the Uber itself has the information on who I am picking up. In reverse now, we had to submit all our personal documents, all right, including the documents of the vehicles, police certificate of character, and even do psychometric testing, just to be able to be an active driver, you know, using the Uber app.
Did you have to go through a rigorous process, a screening process, to become an Uber driver?
Right? We did have to, you know, get that certificate of character. Basically, it's similar to what I went through when I was getting my taxi driver's license, actually. So I believe that the process was thorough to ensure that riders are being picked up by secure and safe drivers.
What about going to requests to go to high-risk areas? How is that going to work out?
All right. Well, Uber tries. We were informed not to discriminate, you know, based on destination, passenger destination. So we will be going to areas where it might be considered high risk. One of the things that will happen is as the service grows, there will be people from each area, so that these drivers now may be, you know, available to take the people to their areas.
So if you get a call or if you get a request to go to Laventille, you will go and you pick up somebody at Laventille?
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Yeah. Apart from just being an Uber driver, you're a female taxi driver at a time when things are not really safe in TNT. How do you feel being out on the roads?
I feel comfortable. You know, I move with faith, you know, and I feel comfortable being out there. I try, of course, to take as much precaution as possible, which would be, you know, screening the people that are actually coming in, because it's actually worse. When you're working taxi, you don't know at all. There's no way to know who is coming in the car. All right, but at least with Uber, the person who requested the car, there's some form of details out there. All right, so it's a lot safer for me.
Is it financially worth it at the end of the month?
It is. I believe it is.
Are you able to pay your bills, take care of your family?
It's a lot easier with the use of the app, right? Because I did taxi services before, and I offered, you know, on my own private services to people, and, you know, it's one people, friends of friends, and so on. But now, with the help of this app, you know, you could be, once you're in the right place at the right time, you're guaranteed to have trips.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Money Matters. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Judy Kanhai. Have a great week.